Probably.
Remember this stuff? Lecture 1, remember all of this? Yes, yes? Wait. What? Okay. And then, where did we see that before? Yeah, what? Huh? Now what? What is this? How does V out relate to Vn? V out equal? V out equals? dVn. Okay.
هذا أنا اللي مش دارس بجاوب شباب بطرس.
Okay, V out equals dVn. Now, In equals
DBL.
dVn bar?
لا.
what was it?
Okay, belash. I'll draw it another way.
Something over
source.
something over something.
In
I forgot. Online.
equals.
اللي فيكم.
Is this the same as this?
No.
Yes sir.
You switch to because
Yes, أول مرة.
Huh? What the other way? This.
Yes.
This. Is
No.
it the same as this part?
Yes.
Okay. How does In relate to IL?
JIDT.
1 minus dt.
In equals IL when what?
It's closed.
When the switch is closed.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a portion of IL.
Flower.
In is a portion of IL. So what is that portion?
Duty cycle and time.
Okay? Duty cycle,
And the frequency.
Frequency.
average value. In equals? Again, you had this, and I put this, and I'm asking you, what is V out? So you tell me V out equals V in when switch is closed. And then you tell me that V out equals 0 when switch is open. So you come to the conclusion that V out equals V in dt plus 0, 1 minus dt. So the average over time, the average you have to divide by t. You get V out equals dVn. Okay? Okay? Okay. Here, In equals IL when the switch is closed.
First.
In equals 0 when switch is open. You see that parallel now? Yes? Are they parallel? The ideas, are they parallel? Yes. In is IL when the switch is closed. In is 0 when the switch is open. Therefore, In equals DIL plus T short plus 0, 1 minus dt. If I take the average, I have to divide by T. Therefore, I get that In equals DIL. What do you think? Was this something you were supposed to know?
Yes.
Or is it a far reach?
We're supposed to know. Do we know?
Why do you not know?
Do
Okay, you said you didn't study, so I'm not gonna
Ask whoever does
intimidate
it.
you too much. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm asking you so everybody gets intimidated. Why?
Answer شباب.
Is it before exam stress?
Yes. You too, we have a lot of exams at the same time.
Really? The whole reason we made it this week is that you don't have other exams.
I have exam on
Exactly.
Friday.
8 a.m.
Not on Thursday.
هذا next week صار خلاص.
Okay, doctor, about Bagboost, the derivation.
Are you okay with that problem?
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, okay. So you understand that IN is DIL. Yes? Okay. So I think this makes a derivation for the value for IL much easier later because you already know IN is DIL. So if I ask you, how does the capacitor current relate to IL? You're going to tell me, oh, in this case, it's not related to IL. In this case, it is related to IL.
Sir,
Yes.
why did you write T after you wrote the DC ratio and multiplied by the IL?
And where did it go?
Top right.
And where
So
did
for
it
the
go?
portion of the time, you can drop the T.
Oh.
You can drop it.
you
Why,
can just
why
stick
can
with
you
the
drop
IL.
it? Because of this.
115.
Oh.
Yeah. Why can you drop the T? Because average you divide by T.
Okay.
There. That's why you drop the T. The actual value has a T. Okay, but then you drop it when you do the average. See, I told you, everything is here. If you pay attention, everything is here. Nothing is out of this equation sheet.
And we're writing yes, small IL, right?
So in this case, yes, IN equals small IL.
قد أخذنا.
شوف
It
من
would
فوق
be more
في كل شيء
prudent to
بقلبها
say it's
بتركز.
small IN actually. And then the average is after
كل شيء
you do
بقلبها
the average.
حتى
That
أجار
would be
البيت
more prudent to say it's small IN. And then, yes, that's still IN.
Zero.
And then you do the integration, you divide by T, you get that IN is T.
Sir,
Yes.
is this the formula sheet that will be given in our method?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
And I have to derive from the formula sheet to answer the question. Right?
We have everything.
So everything is here.
This is already derived.
Okay.
Derived. I
Inshallah.
mean, after this, I might as well give you the answers to the exam.
أنا بقول ما فيك تعملها.
Delta IL closed.
Huh?
Can you revise delta IL close and open for the bug boost?
For the buck boost? Okay.
Because last class was I didn't.
Delta IL close.
Yeah, open it.
Okay. So here, delta IL. How do you find delta IL? Okay, so I have 10 problems prepared. So okay, so
One hour
delta
class,
IL.
no problem. I'm blank.
So we start with the voltage on the inductor. Once you start talking about inductor current, you have to start from voltage on the inductor. So VL. Okay, VL, when the switch is closed, it is VG,
Minus zero.
and this side is 0. When the switch is open, this side is V out, this side is 0. Good? Now, so when I plot VL, it's VG here and V out. Why is this negative? Because V out, buck boost is an inverted topology. V out, while is a positive value in my analysis, it is actually a negative value inside. That's why it looks negative. Okay, with this information, I get that when the switch is closed, that VL of T, switch closed, equals VG, switch open, VL of T equals V out, average, this average, this average. Good, now what? Now I go to the equation sheet here and I find this relationship. V VL of t equals L di L by dt. So VL of t, when the switch is closed, equals L delta I. L di means a fraction of IL. This is continuous. Now this is discrete, so we mean a fraction, a portion, a small portion, delta. Delta IL over dt. How much is that time out of the period? It is d. D of t. dt. Good. Now when the switch is open, VL of t equals L. Still delta IL, but now divided by how much is that
1 minus
time?
dt.
1 minus dt. To make it clear, I could take this as closed and say close, and then take this open and say open. Now, put apples and oranges together. Okay? Now this VL of t equals Vg, VL of t equals L delta I L over dt. They are both equal, right? Because this VL of t switch closed, VL of t switch closed. So the first relationship becomes L delta I L closed over dt equals Vg. Okay, make delta IL closed the subject, so delta IL closed equals Vg dt over L. Okay?
Yes.
Now, switch open, repeat the same thing, and then all of this equals V out. So L delta IL open over 1 minus dt equals V out. Then I can say that delta IL open equals V out 1 minus dt over L. And there you, that's how you get it. Okay?
شكرا لك.
But in this case, shouldn't VO be negative?
VO has a negative value, that is correct. But I'm talking about delta IL. It's always going to be a positive value. So if you want to be very precise, you could add absolute value. Yes? Okay. Now, what about if I ask you IL minimum? IL minimum is IL minus delta IL over 2. So you could take this delta IL, close this one. But then how about capital IL? How do you handle capital IL? That's when it becomes tricky, right?
I did the same thing we did back in Boost. I did the same as well.
Good, good, very good. So do you want me to derive this? Capital IL?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Capital IL. How do you get capital IL?
مستنجد فيك نظرات مش خلق.
Oh, I shouldn't have raised this. Okay. So we know that delta IL close is Vg dt over L. Okay, and we know that delta IL minimum equals IL minus delta IL over 2. So I at least know this part. IL equals IL minus Vg dt over 2L. Now what about this IL? One thing that can become very useful is this relationship. In equals DIL. How is this useful? So let's open the waveform again.
سعيد.
this again and see. Well, all of DC-DC converters, you can think of them as DC transformers. There's nothing called DC transformer. It's actually laughable if we say it that way. But you can think of it that Pn equals Pout in an ideal DC-DC converter. So with this fact, you can say that Pn equals In Vn, Pout equals Iout Vout. If Pn equals Pout, then I get that In Vn equals Iout Vout. What do I know about Iout? Iout is here, regardless of which switches are closed and which are open. Iout has the value of
V out over.
V out over R. You should just know it. This Ohm's law. Come on, V out over R. Iout is V out over R. Right away. Iout is V out over R multiplied by V out equals In. What about In?
DIL.
DIL. Oh, that came very handy. I can replace In by DIL times
Vn.
Vn. This is enough to get you an equation for IL. Okay? This is enough. You don't really need to do anything else. You could keep it as IL equals V out squared divided by
ID. Vn.
R D
Vn.
Vn. You could keep it as this. There's no shame in that. Okay? So if you write this equation, you are good. You got the equation for IL. If you want to be super fancy and represent everything in terms of what does it book do? Is it Vn or Vout? In Vn. So you want to represent everything in Vn. So replace anything that has Vout by Vn.
Using reduced cycle.
Well, yes. Which relationship we use?
Reduced cycle.
Okay, so we use the gain equation. What's the gain equation? It's V out divided by Vn. So I know from a buck boost that V out over Vn equals
Minus D over 1
very good. So I want to replace V out by Vn minus Vn over 1 minus V. Correct? So I replace V out squared by this square. So V out squared equals Vn squared D squared 1 minus D squared. Okay? So to avoid the mistake that happened in class, I put them separate. This is separate, this is separate. Now, yes.
Doctor, why did we choose when the switch is open? Or we can choose whatever we want?
I didn't choose when the switch is open. When did I choose the switch closed?
When the
So
switch
why
is-
would I choose closed? You can choose open.
It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So then it will be IL equal IN.
No. Oh, you're talking about IL?
Yes.
IN and IL?
Yeah.
No, it came from here. You have an IN goes to IL.
Yes.
When the switch is closed, IN equals IL. When the switch is open, IN equals 0. What's the average IN? Average IN is TDIL plus 0, 1 minus DT. You take the average, you divide by T, you get IN is DIL. Okay? Then, so now I want to replace V out squared by this, so I get that IL equals Vn squared D squared over 1 minus D squared multiplied by 1 over R D Vn. 1D cancels with 1D. Vn cancels with 1 Vn. And we are left by IL equals VND over 1 minus D squared multiplied by R. That's it. That's it. Is that the correct answer? Yeah.
We do the same here equals for every one of them.
امتى البروبلم سوليوشن؟
Every one of the conversions
What do you mean?
for the post converter. I use this relationship.
Which one?
Zero.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
My switch is closed. Switch is open, huh?
Open zero.
Huh?
Does it make sense now?
دكتور لهلا مش فاهم الاي ان ايكوال دي اي ان هي لها علاقه بالسويتشز اوبن ولا ما لها دخل؟ ولا هي
لا مالهاش علاقة، أنا بقول لك الأفريج.
هي افريج.
أنت دلوقتي أنا أوكي عندك ساعتين كويس؟ وقت 2 hours. Okay? In the first hour I give you a watch. The second hour I give you nothing. In 2 hours, how many watches I gave you? One watch. That's exactly what I did. So your duty ratio in this case is half. You apply 2 watches, but I only give you one of them in 2 hours. Okay? So overall in your 2 hours, how many watches you got? 1. Okay. So your duty ratio is 0.5. Now, in this case, IN when the switch is closed equals IL. When the switch is open equals 0. Okay? When the switch is closed, I give you 1 watch. When the switch is open, I give you 0 watches. So if I have 2 watches, how many did I give you? 1. So 1 over 2. The duty ratio is half. Okay?
So that's why I use capital I.
That's why I don't bring a lot of. I always bring watches. Okay. Anyway. Okay.
Capital I.
This is exactly what happens. IL equals IN when the switch is closed. For how long? For D of T. It's equal to 0. For how long? For 1 minus D T. When I take the average, I get the average. Let's do the average. يلا نراجع introduction section.
نوصل للبروبلم سولفينج.
IL equals
مش تهرس انت؟
IL dt plus 0 1 minus t. Find the average. How do you find the average? How do you find the average?
سعاد انا هتركب هنتعلم ساعات.
So you integrate from t to t plus t.
يعني فجأة
T
هديكم
is
مرة
0.
درسته.
T plus t is capital T. Okay, so first case, it means you have to split this integral to 0 to dt, and then from dt to t. First case, you have IL dt. And then it's from 0 to dt.
امتحان هيجي
Plus 0
صليب ولا صليب؟
dt till t.
بيسأل
سألوا.
You get IL dt plus
1 minus d.
بينما بليز ولا
multiplied by 1 minus
اصطف ايدك جميل.
t.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a question.
Can I finish answering?
Yes,
this?
sure.
Okay. So and then you add this up, you get. You have to divide by t. 1 over t.
نمها الرولز فتشون.
Divide by t, you get IL
تايتو.
equals
أكيد.
DIL.
ما جيب شيء من كتبته.
Okay? Yes, your question.
Can we know the format of the midterm?
I still haven't written it, but I think the first part will be multiple choice true or false.
How many multiple choice? How many
I don't
true
know.
false?
And what's the answers for that?
After I see the whole thing, I'll decide.
Type, okay, what's after multiple choice?
And then one direct problem.
Direct problem you mean with number
Yeah.
numerical.
Numeric.
طيب بعدين
And then maybe one
5, 6,
numerical
7.
problem but has a twist. And then maybe some waveforms.
Waveforms.
So one problem is multiple choice. One problem is waveform and derivation. Okay. One problem is direct substitution. Okay, to appeal to all the masses. And then one problem is substitution plus you have to pay attention in one of the parts. I can show you when we start solving the problem.